A very good morning and jumbo to everyone that has joined us today here live at the Waterhole. My name is Kerry Dupree and I'll be your naturalist guide for this morning's Live at the Waterhole. Just a reminder that this is a live and interactive experience, so please feel free to send through those questions and comments on our various channels. I will be dying to hear from you. Join in the conversation today. Let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like us to look out for or any questions you might have along the course of the show. We have started in Oldonyo with some very busy zebra. Thank you for your comment, Robin Morrison. Hello. Thank you for joining us this morning. Another comment from Same Kind of Melon. Happy Thirsty Thursday. It definitely is a Thirsty Thursday for the zebra. Lots of zebra out and about, which generally means lots of bickering and politics going on among zebra harems as they join together. Leopard Lover says, hello everyone. Good day, Kerry from Perth. Thank you, Leopard Lover, for joining us. I hope you're having some nice weather in Perth. I believe you're having some cold, dreary weather in Australia the last couple of days. So I hope the weather has improved. It is looking like a very nice sunny day over in Oldonyo. Some nice blue skies. The clouds are accumulating. And it looks like they have had some rainfall. There's some green grass that is popping out. Ellie PR, thank you for your comment. Ellie says, hello Wilder team and Kerry, good to hear you and today, and thank you very much. Thank you Ellie PR for joining us. It is a lovely day to just be watching live at the Waterhole and see what we can find on this very special day. Wow, imagine how many zebra. I cannot even try to count the zebra that we have here. These huge zebra herds do move through these areas, take over the water holes. Luckily we don't have any elephants around today. Otherwise the zebra would normally be fighting it out for space at this water hole with those big jumbo elephants of course. So Leopard Lover, yes, I can agree with you. Leopard Lover says you can see why it's called a dazzle with all of those stripes. And yeah, so zebra stripes not only form the purpose of a fly or insect repellent. So apparently the theory with the zebra stripes is that the black and white stripes confuses insects. They don't know where to land on a zebra's body. So that is one of the theories behind the reason for their stripes. But also when they huddle together, their stripes seem to merge into one when predators are looking at the zebra while hunting them, and that can also confuse a predator. So we always know that animals have a natural instinct. When there's predators around, they'll huddle together, and that generally tends to confuse the predators. They do not know, cannot differentiate one individual from the next. Each zebra is unique and special in its own stripes. There's not one zebra out there that has the same pattern, although individuals within the same family can have similar stripes or patterns, especially on key points on their bodies where their stripes might meet, on their front shoulders, possibly on their faces, the side of their jaw. There's often patterns that might be passed down from one generation to the next. Lots of activity here today. See, there's one zebra in this group on the right hand side of our screen here that is missing a part of his ear. Ooh. So zebra can engage in very nasty fights, especially the males, and I would not be surprised if that male zebra got a part of his ear bitten off by another male. So Jay is asking, is a zebra bite as strong as they kick? Ooh. Jay, I feel like it's probably, with zebras, it's probably, it depends on the situation. I don't think you want to be bitten or kicked by a zebra. I can attest for that. They are both rather uncomfortable. But yeah, as you can see with this individual zebra that's missing a part of his ear, that was probably from a bite. So it depends on how the angle at which the zebras manage to catch you. Sometimes you get a little bit of a nip, but sometimes they really can deliver a rather nasty bite, zebra. But a kick from a zebra placed in the wrong location, if you're closer to them, it's often you might not be lucky enough not to be kicked too hard if they're kicking one of their opponent males or other dominant males. But if a zebra kick catches you in the wrong place, it can, with lions, predators, it could probably break a lion's leg. I've seen male zebras with broken legs from fights with other individuals. So I think it's they're both pretty much of a muchness. I wouldn't want to be bitten or kicked by a zebra. So Pat, thank you for your question. Pat is asking when my next stint in the Mara is. Pat, I'm not too sure. Hopefully I'll be able to go back to the Mara again, but I'm very grateful for the experience that I did have in the Masai Mara. It was an incredible opportunity to go and explore Kenya. Had a great time with Big James. We went on many adventures. Half the time I think Big James must have thought I was absolutely mad, because some of the places we went and adventures we went on were quite wild. But it does take a lot of exploring and adventuring to find some special sightings. And talking about special sightings, on our live locations, it seems like Ralph has been having an incredible time. He has been on fire with his sightings over in Amakhala. I saw he had 2 brown hyena that I think he saw yesterday. Very good sighting of a brown hyena quite close to the vehicle, and 2 in the same spot. And he also found a den of bat-eared foxes. How exciting! I really enjoyed watching the highlight clip from Ralph's sighting of the bat-eared foxes. It is on the Wild Earth Instagram, so if you'd like to check out some of these highlight clips, there's been a lot of highlight clips coming out lately. Go have a look, see Ralph's little bat-eared foxes, his brown hyenas. I think Eric's has also been having good luck with some elephants. I know Eric does love his elephants, so go and check out the Wild Earth Instagram page and you can see some of the interesting highlights from the last 24 hours game drives. They have been updating it quite a lot, so lots of interesting wildlife sightings that you can catch there. So talking about bat-eared foxes, these bat-eared foxes are not necessarily considered as an endangered species, although in some areas their populations are not necessarily stable. So yeah, pretty much a stronghold for these bat-eared foxes. They like to occur in the Kalahari, the Northern Cape, the Free State, and parts of the Eastern Cape. So that's just within South Africa. But they are very common in Etosha, so in Namibia, as well as in the Masai Mara, and also in the Serengeti in Kenya. So we could actually get little bat-eared foxes coming and drinking from this waterhole. Again, they are mostly active at night, little nocturnal creatures, so you'd see them moving in at night. And unfortunately for the bat-eared foxes, the thing that affects their population the most, their main threats would be habitat loss and fragmentation of their habitat. They do also get killed by, they're very easily killed by lions and any larger predators. And humans do very much misunderstand bat-eared foxes. So sometimes bat-eared foxes might also be killed if they move into farmlands, because they're suspected of killing livestock or poultry. But they're actually just very innocent little bystanders, and they don't mostly feed on insects and termites. So it's sometimes a bit of a misunderstanding. And the diet of these bat-eared foxes, so they feed on harvested termites. That's 80% of their diet. They'll also eat beetles, larvae, small rodents, eggs, and fruit. Very cute little creatures. It'd be lovely to see a bat-eared fox. I must actually check. Alrighty, folks. Well, the zebra are still going to be around, so let's go check out one of our other locations and see what's happening at Jackie's Pan. Oh, we got some black herons. The nighttime, daytime bird. Oh, sorry, I thought we were going to Jackie's Pan, but seems like we've got a lot of new locations on the Africam camera. So this is Jack's camp over in Mahadikhadi Pans in Botswana. This very famous little nighttime, daytime birds. So these are the black herons, and they're the birds that use their wings to cast shadow over their heads, or also known as the umbrella bird. And as they cast that shadow over their faces, they look to see if they can see any fish. They mostly hunt on fish, these birds. So I have a few comments to catch up on. We've got a comment from Jax. Says, I always watch Wild Earth, so how you guys protect yourself against dangerous animals. So Jax, so mostly, of course, we learn a lot about the body language and behavior of animals so that you don't put yourself into a bad situation, and always giving animals their personal space. I feel like just these two things can be very, very useful. Giving animals their personal space, reading their body language, and always being very alert and aware of what's happening around you. So T-Man says you could hear the zebra playing with the water. Yes, T-Man, really awesome to hear the zebra moving around in the water. Zebra are quite a dominant species at the waterholes. Oop, we've got a red-billed teal. Lovely to see a red-billed teal. 2 red-billed teals. These herons look like they're waiting for a Halloween party to begin or something like that. They've got rather dark coats. They do have a long crest on their feathers, just on the head there. So Leopard Lover is asking, Kerry, do you have a favorite mammal, reptile and bird? So Darkman Lover, my favorite mammal, I can never choose, there's too many, but I do love leopard and zebra. My favorite reptile, I must say I'm getting very fond of our red-headed rock agama that we saw in the Masai Mara, or the Spider-Man agama. Very cool. And birds, it's so hard to choose, but the bird families that I love are wattle eyes, tiracos, and bee eaters. I like the brightly colored birds. So I'd love to hear from our viewers if you would like to send through your favorite mammal, reptile, and bird, if that is even possible, because there's so many out there. But I'd love to hear from you. Got another comment from Moonlight at Midnight. Says, good morning, Kerry. Eldonio is your favorite waterhole, apparently. The zebras better make the most of it before the Ellies arrive, and I agree with you, Moonlight at Midnight. The zebra were lucky to have that waterhole to themselves, but once the elephants arrive, it's not much space for anyone else to have a drink, although the zebra do take their chances. Another comment from David Bilston from the UK. Says, hello Kerry and everyone, I don't say much but love this channel. David Bilston, thank you for sending your comment. We know you're always there, and it is an honor to be able to share these incredible wildlife experiences with you and interactions. Lots of amazing wildlife sightings out there that we see on Wild Earth. Have a look at these herons. The wind is blowing and it's making their little hairdos look not so tidy. Looks like, So LEPR says that these herons are looking so beautiful. I don't know if it's the herons or the zebra. The zebra are always looking fabulous. These herons are looking rather dapper. As I mentioned, they look like they're awaiting a Halloween party to begin. They've got their very dark black feathers there, and they're just patiently sitting in the shade. Maybe they've already had a busy morning of feeding, looking for fish. Our teals are still busy dabbling away. I guess they are still feeding for the morning. So LEPR says, I love to see those dragonflies soaring around, so gorgeous little creatures. So LEPR, yes, it's always a good sign to see lots of little dragonflies. It means there's a healthy ecosystem, healthy environment, the water's clean. I don't know what these herons are going to get up to. I'd love to see them hunting. It's great when you see these black herons casting their umbrella-shaped wings around them while they hunt for fish. They'll also eat small tadpoles or little frogs. It's interesting how I feel like herons often bite off more than they can chew. I mean, we often see hummerkops, and there was a grey heron on the African cameras, they recorded a video the other day of a grey heron at night catching a frog, and this frog was way too big for that heron to eat. He must have taken ages to swallow that giant frog. Yeah, with the herons and hummerkops, what they'll do with frogs is they'll often thrash the frog around a bit, trying to break it up a little bit so it's easier to swallow. Yeah, poor frog. But I guess everything does need to eat. And if we didn't have herons feeding on the frogs and hummerkops, sorry, we've just linked across to Serengeti Explorer to find one of my favorite reptiles. This is the red-headed rock agama, or also known as the Spider-Man lizard. Look at those colors. So Spasiankov is asking about the herons and where do these black egrets or herons normally nest. So generally egrets and herons will nest in colonies all together up in trees. They're normally quite messy stick nests, nothing too elaborate, nothing too pretty. And when they're nesting, they'll all nest generally at the same time. So you'll find, for example, your herons and your egrets all nesting with storks. Storks will sometimes also nest together. So yeah, interesting to see their nesting behaviors, because it's normally quite busy. You don't want to be camping or living anywhere near a colony of herons and egrets nesting, because they make quite a lot of noise. This little agama sitting here. I wonder what's happening. Okay, yeah, I thought his foot looked like it was in a strange position. So have a look at these little claws of these, perfect for digging and scratching around for food. These males are quite dominant, so they will do everything they can to attract the attention of a female that might be in the area. I do like their striking colors. Look how bright their colors are. Interesting scales. He's got some little spikes on his scales and his tail there. What is he looking at? So they have little territories. I noticed while I was in Namara, we saw a lot of these red-headed rock agamas, and one lizard will sort of have a territory of a small rock. That will be his territory, and he'll have a few females within his territory. But if any other males do try to come into his territory, then he will very fiercely defend that territory of his. Very impressive little specimen. You get all different shapes and sizes of these agamas. You get tree agamas as well. In southern Africa, we also get tree agamas with all kinds of very elaborate colors. Sometimes they have blue, pink, purple, green, really pretty reptiles. Normally the males are the more striking in color. No, they are mostly a diurnal species, so they'll be very active during the day. Alrighty folks, let's head across to King's Camp and see what other interesting little creature we have waiting for us. Oh, what have we got here? So a shame. This poor terrapin looks like he has had quite a life. Let's have a look. He must have been squashed at some stage. So I know lions and leopards will often try to eat tortoises. That's a good meal for a lion or a leopard. But these terrapins, they're not very tasty because they have a very strong pungent smell that they excrete as a defense mechanism that will deter predators from wanting to eat these terrapins. So he could have been squashed by something. I wouldn't be surprised if an elephant coming down to a waterhole could have squashed part of his shell. They spend a lot of time in very muddy, brackish water, these terrapins. And yeah, obviously when elephants are coming down to have a mud bath or mud wallow, I have seen an elephant squashing a terrapin before, shame. When the track of the elephant in the mud dried up, the terrapin was still inside the bottom of the track. So they do have a hard life, these terrapins. They have to be very careful for all the predators that are out there, and elephants that might be coming. But you can see his shell has healed quite well, although the cracks in this shell might leave a bit of space for parasites like ticks to get in there. And shame, ticks can be quite a nuisance for these little creatures. You can see those very thick claws. They've got little claws on the end of their feet. It does make it easier for them to move around and also to hunt their prey. So generally feed on anything between fish to little insects, crustaceans, but they do also feed on vegetation as well if they're hungry. But those claws of theirs can be quite useful for catching their prey, especially those crustaceans that they feed on. Look at him, they're such strange creatures, aren't they? Rather unusual. See, as he's put his little foot inside. When these terrapins don't have their legs extended out, it's amazing how they actually blend in very well. They've got very dull colored shells, and they often just look like rocks. But during the day you can find them resting up on rocks or logs, sandbanks, catching the sun, but the minute there's any disturbance they head straight back in the water. Alrighty folks, well, let's go and see what's happening at Elephant's Pan over in Botswana. Ooh, look at this place. My goodness, the water level has dropped quite a lot since I last saw this location. It looks like they're still in their dry season. I know some parts of South Africa, Botswana and Zimbabwe have started experiencing rain for the season, but it doesn't look like... There must have been a little bit of rain because all the mapani trees have started sprouting their leaves, but this pan does need to be filled up quite a lot. So Leopard Lover has sent through a comment. Apparently Leopard Lover's favorite bird is the Australian magpie because of their song and call. Apparently they have an interesting song and call, these Australian magpies. You call it the wobble. And your favorite mammal is a leopard, and reptile is a skink because they can run really fast. Yeah, skinks are pretty interesting little creatures. They do have the ability to run quite fast. It's probably because they have a lot of predators. So thanks for your comment, Leopard Lover. Jane Ingrid has sent through a comment. Hi Kerry, if caught in an awkward situation, would a bird be able to back, not turn around? Jane Ingrid, yes. So birds, if they are approached by, if a predator approaches them from the front, or if they're caught off guard, then they can jump backwards and they quickly flap their wings. Yeah, you see this often happening with like your lapwings, your ground-dwelling birds. If they bump into something unexpectedly, they can jump out of the way and flap their wings to get themselves out of a bad situation. LEPR, it is very cute to see these elephants. It's a small breeding herd of elephants that is down at the waterhole here at Elephant Pan in Botswana. I love this camp. This is a beautiful camp. I've done a few safaris to this location, and you have elephants coming and drinking right out of the swimming pool, elephants walking through your rooms during the day. You have to be very careful not to bump in an elephant. And it used to be called Hyena Pan because there's a few... Sorry, I think we had difficulty with our feed there at Elephant Pan, but we're back in El Donyo. We're back in El Donyo, and we have a female giraffe. So we had some giraffe here yesterday that were nervously... There's a male that very easily came down for a drink, but The females seem to be a little bit more nervous when coming down for a drink. So I had a poll going out yesterday to see what some of our viewers would like to chat about today on Live at the Waterhole, and some of our comments I got back was of course some of the sightings we've been having on Africam, like what is the difference between sightings we might have from the rainy season to the dry season. And in my opinion, obviously in the rainy season there's not much water around, so these pans and waterholes will be busier during the dry season. You have a lot more activity, but also a lot more elephants. So in the rainy season, you might not see so many elephants, but it does give opportunity for some other creatures to come down to the waterhole. So you might have longer periods with not too much activity. That's a perfect time when it's nice and quiet. Maybe you get a sneaky little cheetah. Maybe, as we spoke about, our bat-eared foxes will come through at night. So when you don't have so much activity of these big mammals during the dry season or in the rainy season, then it gives so much more space for other creatures to come through, and also birds and little creatures, squirrels. You definitely see a lot more small predatory birds coming to drink at these water holes, maybe even small little nocturnal creatures, because there's not too much activity, not too much movement. So it's just interesting to see the different sightings you'll get from these cameras in the rainy season, the dry season, and different times of the year. Good morning, you beautiful giraffe. She's not too keen to have, I think she's thirsty, but she's just being very cautious, very wary. They do have to be very cautious because when giraffe bend over to have a drink, they do put themselves into a slight predicament. They are a little bit vulnerable to predators. And as we know, in Kenya and Tanzania, there is a very high population of lions. So lots of lions out there. Oh, we've got some more giraffe coming to visit. Lots of oxpeckers. Yeah. She is not comfortable at all. What is around here, girl? So now we do have, I have seen a cheetah at this location here in Oldonyo. I know there are some lions that sometimes pop around to the waterhole for a drink, and a midday drink like this might be a perfect opportunity for the lions to come down. So maybe she is suspicious that there could be some lions in the area. Talking about lions, we had a pretty interesting sighting of some lions at Lintore the other day. So there was 5 sub-adult lions with a lioness that did eventually come down for a drink as well. Shame one of the little lions looked like, he looked like he had a bit of an injury on his eye. So often when they're playing with one another, lions can be quite playful, which is a good thing, but sometimes they can injure themselves a little bit. But yeah, it's lovely to see some lions over in Lintore coming down for a drink. So Milaskrand has sent through a comment. I saw a giraffe here the other day all by herself. She was standing in the water. Interesting to have a female giraffe by herself. There could have been other giraffe nearby, but I wouldn't be surprised if she was by herself. I mean, oh, we've got another little agama. Have a look at this guy. Isn't he handsome? I wouldn't say it's the red-headed rock agama. It's probably one of the other different types of rock agamas, because it's got more of a yellowish head. But yeah, giraffe, they don't necessarily form tight family bonds like with elephants. They'll have more of a loose family collection, so they're not necessarily staying in their prenatal herd that they were born into. Moving group of zebra are known as a journey. Standing group of zebra are known as a tower. Oh, our little lizard.
Let's go and take a look. See you out there. What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
My full name is Mpomu Tusitikani. Best part of my job is coming to see nature. Worst part of my job is logging. That's the worst thing ever, because you have to log amount of footage. You sit in front of that computer and yeah, you think of deleting the footage, but no, they need the footage. If I went to camel, probably a soccer player. I know some people don't believe me, but I'm very good, and I'm very fast.
Ah, the bush, full of beauty, wonder, and absolute chaos. And now, all that madness has its own show. It's called a Wild Bush Week. The countdown of the most outrageous, heart-stopping, and sometimes downright ridiculous wildlife moments of the week. Lions throwing their weight around. Hyenas gate-crashing the buffet. Leopards doing, well, leopardy things. Each week, it's a fresh reel of safari gold. A mix of drama,
She's just got an impala, everybody.
danger, and a healthy dose of laughter. So, if you fancy a highlight show with bite, and I don't mean just the animals, tune in to a Wild Bush Week. You bring the tea, and we'll bring the tusks, tails, and teeth.
These giraffe don't necessarily look pregnant, but they are staring at something. Maybe we'll see a lion. Ooh, wouldn't that be exciting? Imagine a little lion. A lioness pops up, or a cheetah. That'd be very cool. I've seen cheetah at Tau. The cheetah I saw here at Eldonio, I didn't see that live. And I've also seen cheetah at Safari Hook, and I've seen lions at Tembe. But it would be very cool. Imagine a little leopard pops out here at Eldonio. Wouldn't that be exciting? What are these giraffe looking at? So I'm sure here in Eldonio it's also in their short rainy season. So they've been experiencing quite a bit of rain. You can see lots of grass has started growing. Vegetation all looks lovely, lush and green. It's such a nice time of the year. I love that smell of the first rains. Oh, it is incredible. All the frogs start coming out, your migratory birds start arriving, everything starts turning lush and green, everything's bright and vibrant. It's such a great time of the year. No, it might not be the best time of the year for your high-profile sightings, but there's so much more that the bush has to offer during the green season. Oh, and don't forget about the mushrooms. Lots of beautiful flowers and mushrooms will start popping out everywhere. So Anna, very good question. Anna's asking, how does a giraffe's heart beat blood all the way to its brain without fainting when it lowers its head to drink? So Anna, giraffes have incredibly large hearts. So the heart of a giraffe can weigh up to 11 kilograms. They have massive hearts, and that is how they are able to pump blood all the way up to their heads like that. It's a very unique creature that has a large heart, and I mean they have to pump their blood very high distance. I mean some of these giraffe can measure between between 2 to 6 4 say between 2 to 4 meters. It's incredibly large creatures. Hey guys, females finally starting to come down for a drink. So some of the big males can even measure over 5 meters tall. I mean, that's incredibly tall creature these giraffe are. one of the tallest giraffe ever recorded was almost just under 6 meters. So that's just under 19 feet. And a newborn giraffe can stand up to 1.9 meters at birth. So that's 6 foot at birth. But interesting, while we're talking about height of a giraffe, the largest crocodile ever recorded was, I think it was actually in Tanzania, and that crocodile was measured at 23 feet. So imagine, the largest crocodile ever recorded was longer than the height of your tallest giraffe. Isn't that incredible to think of? That crocodile must have been close to 100 years old. Imagine how many years a crocodile has lived to get to a ginormous size of 23 feet. Wow. Incredibly long legs and neck. You can see these giraffe knees are a bit brown in color, so during the rainy season, lots of mud around. That's why it does make their knees look rather brown. I have another comment from David Bilston from the UK. Not easy, Kerry, but reptile, leopard, lizard, bird. Favorites of these individuals would be crow, mammal would be buffalo, but of course you do love all the animals. So yeah, it's not easy to choose. I always find it very difficult because there's so many different creatures out there. But yeah, thanks for your comment. Wendy H sent through a comment. Hello again, Kerry, from a lovely rainy morning in PE. Hello, Wendy. Thank you for sending your regards. It's a bit of an overcast day here in Johannesburg. The sun is starting to come out, but yeah, it's a rather pleasant, cool, overcast day here in Gauteng, a province of South Africa. So Sanjeev Roy, yes, it is quite difficult to tell if a giraffe is pregnant. But in their last, I would say their last 3 months, they do start to show a lot more. So the first period of their gestation, the first 9 to 10 months, you can't really tell if they're pregnant. But in the last couple of months, they do look rather large, just like with zebra. I think zebra is probably the most prominent species that you can tell if they're pregnant. My goodness, zebra get so round, they feel like their stripes even change shape. Alrighty folks, well, our giraffe has disappeared, so while we wait for them to come back, let's head back across to Tembe Elephant Park in South Africa and see what's happening at one of our other locations. Ooh, have a looky here. Got quite a few big elephant tuskers. Wow, there are some big bulls here today. I think we had 2 elephant bulls or 3 elephant bulls yesterday, but it was a bit of a quiet day. We did have one elephant bull that was swimming closer to the end of the show. It's always lovely to see these elephants swimming, having an elephant pool party. So they look like they're taking it easy a bit. They love standing under the shade of these acacia trees. There's also a woolly neck stork just roaming around the elephants. And the sand, there's some very nice soft cool sand under these acacia trees that the elephants enjoy dust bathing themselves with, as well as some nice little mud puddles that they can give themselves a mud bath as well. It's like, I feel like Tembe is almost like a giant elephant spa, this pan. The elephants just love coming here and spending time here. Lots of elephant bulls coming from different places, all to one spot to meet and greet each other. The bonding is also quite important between these elephants at waterholes. Alright, so Sanjeev Roy has asked the question, Ellies rarely lie down, and if so, for a few minutes, so that the blood supply to vital organs goes on smoothly. So Sanjeev Roy, yes, that can be one reason. Elephants, big bull elephants especially, don't lie down for very long periods, but also the oxygen. And some of these big elephant bulls are weighing between 6 to 8 tons. in some big individuals, and the longer they lie down on one side, the more their lungs get compressed. So it makes it a bit difficult for them to breathe. So you'll see if elephant bulls do lie down, they often lie down propped up on a tree, a sandbank, termite mound, to help them get up again. Because it's quite an awkward thing for elephants to do, is getting up and down. It's like with us humans, when we get older, the more you try to go down, it's a little bit more difficult coming back up again. So the elephants really struggle to stand back up after having a nap. We have a question from Erica. Erica's asking, in your opinion, which African animal impresses the foreign visitors the most? So Erica, obviously most tourists coming to Africa want to see the big five. Is always the thing, creatures that people search for the most. And after big five, of course, a giraffe are a very popular, one of Africa's most popular creatures that people seek and look for in Africa, as well as zebra. And of course your cheetah and wild dog. So your predators are always high up on the list, but zebra and giraffe are also quite high up there. People love to see the big five. Any predators, zebra, and as well as giraffe. Kathy, thank you for your comment. Kathy says the waterhole at Yembe is always a lovely sight. I think you meant Tembe, Kathy. Yes, there we go. It is lovely to see these elephants here. It's always busy. I do like Tembe because it's guaranteed to always be green. So during the dry season, when some of our locations are a little bit dry and not looking so great, Tembe Elephant Park always looks lush and green. Another comment from Wild at Heart says, greetings to our FC team as well as myself. I know what you mean about the smells after the rain in the bush. We call it a petior, I think, explains it reasonably, but in real time nothing beats it. Yes, so I believe that the smell of the rain has been captured. They've managed to put it into a bottle, and there is a fragrance, or a few companies that make a fragrance from this sound, the smell of the fresh rain. It is lovely. So in southern Africa, when it rains, I love, one of my favorite places to watch the first rains is in Wangi National Park in Zimbabwe. I just love that smell of the fresh rain on the soil. In Kenya, when we had our first few rains, it has more of a wet grass smell. Still very nice, always very fresh, dramatic skies, lovely. But Wangi is one of the places I love smelling the first rains, because normally the ground is just so desperate for any sort of moisture. Alrighty folks, well, let's head across to Tembo Plains and see what's happening at one of our other locations. Oh, hello folks, have a look here. We've got a new location here, Tembo Plains in Zimbabwe, and we've got some carmine bee-eaters. This is probably the first time I have ever seen carmine bee-eaters on live at the waterhole. How awesome is this? So these bee-eaters will come and nest on the banks of the Zambezi during this time of year. Oh, we've got a raptor at Safari Hook. Let's head across there into Namibia and see what raptor we have waiting for us. Oh, have a look here. Right, what raptor do we have here? This is an unusual looking raptor. What is he up to? It's a small bird of prey. Could be a tawny eagle, but I think he's a little bit too small for a tawny eagle. But I'm just looking at the bill. So he's got that typical yellow cere. He's got a black tip to the end of his bill. What could this be? But if any of our viewers, so this is in Namibia, if any of our viewers that are familiar with birds in Namibia. I'd love to hear your opinion on what you think this bird of prey could be. I'm guessing a tawny eagle, but it looks a little bit small in my opinion for a tawny eagle. So if we have any viewers that are up to scratch on your Namibian birds, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on what bird this could be. What is he up to? Look at those incredible talons. Incredible talons used for catching their prey. So these eagles will hunt and feed on smaller birds. If they find a lizard or a gama, that'll also be an incredible bird for them to take down. We've got some more comments coming through here. So we've got Emilis Kran has said, I choose a rufous hummingbird for your bird, native of South America, but they do visit in the summer. Ooh, I've not heard of this hummingbird. I have to look it up. Thank you for that. Sandra K says, hi, the waterhole is beautiful. Yes, always lovely to see what's happening around the waterhole. Sanjeev Roy is also asking if I've ever seen a garnial. I think those are those unusual crocodiles. I've never seen one in real life, but they do look very similar to our slender snouted crocodile that you get in West Africa. But yeah, it would be really cool to see those crocodile. Very long, thin, slender snouts, and they don't grow to an impressive size as your Nile crocodile. I think they normally grow up to about between maybe 2 to 5 meters at the most. Kathy, yes, this is a beautiful bird, but he's really bothering me because I'm not 100% sure on what he is. I don't think he is a tawny eagle, although he looks very similar. But what could this bird be? It'd be really cool to see him making a hunt. This perfect little perching spot, so he'll be looking out. That's what he's doing right now, looking for a meal, looking for any unsuspecting prey. So we've got a question from Sanjeev Roy. Kerry, since you're from Zimbabwe, please tell us about Wangi National Park, its elephant population, dangerous lion prides, who often hunt young elephants, and beautiful sable antelope. So yes, Sanjeev Roy, Wangi National Park is probably one of my favorite places in Zimbabwe. Spent a lot of time doing horseback safaris and guiding in the park. The elephant population is crazy though. We've got a lot of elephants. Between 40 to 45,000 elephants can frequent the park. They roam freely between Wangi National Park in Zimbabwe and Chobe National Park in Botswana, so there's no fences. They can move freely between the two parks. Also famously known for bat-eared foxes. So folks, I asked a question earlier, so I'd love to know if you can send through your favorite mammal, reptile and bird. We'd love to hear what your favorite mammals are, reptiles and birds. We're sitting here with a mystery bird that's really bothering me. So if you also know what bird this is, I would love to have assistance on the ID of this bird. Melanistic marble, you might be right. It could be a kestrel. Again, from the size of this individual, it doesn't quite look big enough to be a tawny eagle. So let's have a look at the kestrels. What kestrel could this be? It's in Namibia. There's a lot of migratory birds at the moment, which I also found when I was in Kenya, could be quite confusing, because you get all these migrants coming through. You also get a lot of juveniles. We had a lot of grey kestrels over in Kenya, in the Masai Mara. They were flying through, but yeah, it could be a kestrel of some sort, although he looks a little bit bigger than a kestrel. So I'm going for a little eagle of some sort. Let's see, what could this be? I do hope he catches something. It'll be quite exciting to see this bird of prey capture something for a meal. Had some African hawk eagles when I was in Kewa area. That was quite an epic sighting. So when you get these juvenile birds, they can also confuse you as well, because they might not be in their full adult breeding plumage. One of my exciting new birds was also an imperial eagle. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of an imperial eagle, but yeah, it was an incredible bird lifer. I think he's too small for like a lesser spotted eagle, and they're much darker in color. Alrighty folks, well, as we are speaking about Zimbabwe, let's head across to the hide in Zimbabwe and see what's happening there at the waterhole. Alrighty, welcome to the hide everyone. We have some cattle egrets. You can see they look like they are in breeding plumage, as well as a ring-necked dove. So we got a comment through from Johan. As I said, it could be a booted eagle. I am looking at booted eagle, but booted eagle looks quite bulky, and I don't think the coloring is quite right. We're trying to identify that mystery bird we had in Namibia. Rather unusual. So Wild at Heart says that it thinks it's a tawny eagles. It seems the distribution covers Safari Hook area. Your first guess is correct. So Wild at Heart, I'm still not 100% sure or confident in that, but if you can confirm you think it's a tawny eagle, I'll be very chuffed with that. We also have a comment from Sarah Curry, says her favorite mammal is the red fox. Quite a majestic little creature. I do love the color of the red fox, so I see why you love it so much, Sarah. Kathy has sent through a comment saying her favorite mammal is a giraffe, favorite reptile is a monitor lizard, and favorite bird is a fish eagle. So yeah, nice selection of animals there. Honey Badger has commented, hi Kerry, cheetah is your favorite mammal, your favorite reptile is a crocodile, and your favorite bird is a white-backed vulture. So yeah, also a great selection of very different mammal, reptile and bird combination there. Another comment from Wendy H has commented her favorite reptile is an African python. Oh, I don't blame you, they are very pretty, those African pythons. Favorite mammal is a leopard, and favorite antelope is a sable and an eland. So Wendy H, good selection there. Oh, have a look what we have here. Looks like we have a monitor lizard, which is Kathy's favorite reptile of the day. There we go, Kathy. Thank you for bringing some monitor lizard luck for us. They're quite pesky creatures though, these monitor lizards. They like to raid birds and nests, water birds' nests, and he just floated by on his daily mission. Just off he goes. So although they are called monitor lizards, they do occur close and near water, although you can find them roaming around between one water source and the next. Another interesting reptile you'd find here at the hide in Wangi National Park is your rock monitor. So they will get water monitors, and you also get the rock monitors as well, that are not dependent on water and sometimes can be found in the cracks, crevices and holes of giant trees. So Wesson has sent through a comment, favorite bird is African hawk eagle juvenile, or maybe you're giving a suggestion of our bird we saw earlier. I'll have a look at that, Wesson, and get back to you. And from Erica said her favorite mammal is an eland, favorite reptile is a monitor, and favorite bird is a southern ground hornbill. Very nice selection there too, Erica. Seems like we have a lot of fans that enjoy or like eland. Just having a look at our African hawk eagle. I think, let's have a look. It did have some semi-stripes on this individual. So the immature for the African hawk eagle has a lot more white and very black spotty on the front. Whereas this eagle we were looking for, yes, the cere was yellow, the tip of the bill was black, the feet were yellow, and it did have feathers down its legs. So that's actually a very good guess, Wesson, for African hawk eagle juvenile. It would be the right size. but I'm just looking at the coloration, very mottled coloration on its front part of its body there. But yeah, it could be between right size for African hawk eagle. Alrighty folks, well, while we're in Zimbabwe, let's go to Victoria Falls and see what's happening at the waterhole at Safari Lodge. So it looks like a rather busy day here at Safari Lodge. We have 2 yellow-billed storks. They look like they are rather busy. So these yellow-billed storks, we were talking about herons and egrets earlier, and nesting, their nesting behavior. So you can often see yellow-billed storks. I've even seen spoonbills nesting in colonies with herons and egrets. It's perfect for a large amount of these shoreline birds all nesting together. Does create a lot of protection for them. The more eyes, the more ears, the more protection they have. I've got another comment here from Jean from the UK, who's commenting on our mysterious birds. Says, could be a rufous-breasted sparrowhawk. Let me have a look at this rufous-breasted sparrowhawk. It's a bird in Namibia. I'm not too familiar with my Namibian birds, and I mean, this time of year we get so many migratory birds around, so it can be quite confusing. Jean from the UK, you might be on point with this rufous-breasted sparrowhawk, although I think its legs, yeah. So, Jean, if you have a look in your app for the rufous-breasted sparrowhawk, so this sparrowhawk has no feathers on its legs, whereas the bird we were looking at, 1, it had feathers on its legs, and 2, it didn't have such a prominent black nape on its head, and it did have a yellow cere. So this little rufous-breasted sparrowhawk seems to have quite a small little bill, and it has a very prominent black nape. I think it might be a little bit too small, and the legs also give it away. So some birds of prey don't always have feathers on their legs, and some birds of prey have feathers depending on their diet, what they feed on, what family they belong to. I'm hoping our yellow-billed stork, oh, got some impala. Come on guys, they're gonna fish for us. So yellow-billed storks will fish in these small shallow waters. They'll feed on anything from fish to crustaceans, even frogs. Will make a great meal for a yellow-billed stork. And I love their feathers during the breeding season. These yellow-billed storks' feathers go almost bright pink underneath. Oh, got a herd of impala. Oh, isn't this a lovely scene? Oh my goodness. Got some impala, we've got our yellow-billed storks, got a marabou in the distance there. You can see the rain has arrived in Victoria Falls. They've had a little bit of rain so far. There's tiny little shoots of grass coming up on the banks of this waterhole, and our mapani trees are flush green, filled with lovely green leaves. Oh wow, it's looking lovely. Also got our hammerkop on the other side of the waterhole here. So Mercedes Bean has sent through a comment. Favorite mammal is probably a dog. Favorite reptile, non-venomous snakes. Birds is a peacock, though you also like corvids for their intelligence. And we have another comment that it could be about our mystery bird, Rufus eagle or Rufus hawk eagle. Juliet, thank you for your comment. So just have a look on this Rufus. Have a look at Rufus eagle, but for Rufus hawk eagle, just have a look at the legs. Does it have feathers on the legs? Because the bird we saw definitely had feathers on its legs. Wow, check at this. This waterhole is really thriving today. Lots of activity. Okay, we've got another comment from Michael Van Zyl is saying this bird we could have had was a long-legged buzzard. So I'm just going to quickly have a look at our long-legged buzzard. It definitely was not a kestrel. because kestrels are much smaller. There we go. I think the champion of the day is Michael Van Zale. Thank you so much, Michael. We have a confirmed ID on our buzzard. So it is a long-legged buzzard. Have a look. It had mostly feathers on its legs. It had a black tip to the bill and a yellow cere. Quite mottled in the front. Also, as I mentioned, juveniles can sometimes be. So the adults, there is a rufous morph, so that's why I was also confused. So you do get a rufous morph of the long-legged buzzard, which can be quite confusing. Otherwise, normally they're quite a dark specimen. So thank you very much, Michael Van Zale. That would have been a bird lifer for me if I had seen that bird. So they do have a very long wingspan. What is a buzzard species? Variable plumage with 3 different color morphs. So it's very similar to that of the tawny eagle. So I've seen tawny eagles in different parts of Africa with completely different plumage. So quite a variable plumage. And the adults do lack the very prominent trailing edges to the wings. So they often hunt for little reptiles or little small birds of prey, and you can often see them perched up on these high branches while looking and scanning for food. It's a species of the open steppes and desert country, so Namibia is a perfect place for these birds of prey. Thank you so much for the assistance on that ID. It's always great to learn about new bird species. Our marabou storks also look like they are busy hunting away. There's probably lots of fish in this little waterhole. So Ollie Virch has sent through a comment. Hello Kerry, it's been a fantastic show so far. Big rains incoming for Joburg. Alright, let's head back across to Tanzania, folks. See what else is happening in Kenya. So we've got some more zebra here at Oldonyo. Just going to have a bit of a quiet moment, I think, to listen to these zebra feeding or having a drink at this waterhole. We were just having a little bit of a quiet moment. You know, it's you can get wrapped up in your week. You can get very wrapped up in our weeks. Busy day, busy week. But I love putting on, if the safaris are on or live at the waterhole. It's just a nice peaceful thing to have running in the background. I hope that my brain also captures some information from the other guides. It's always the hope and pray, but most of the time it's just also nice to just listen to some of these locations, have a nice quiet moment. I've been getting back into my yoga lately, and I must say the amount of definitely just calms you and relaxes you a lot, just like these cameras. Like, it's watching these waterholes, it does bring a very good sense of peace, quiet and calm into your life, into your soul. So it's just really special. Like has such an amazing healing property. Just listening to the sounds of wild animals, having a good laugh every now and then when you see a warthog mud wallowing or baboons playing in the distance. Every time I see baby zebra, it just melts my soul too. I love seeing baby zebra. When I was in the Mara, some days I could see hundreds of baby zebra, but every time you see a new little baby zebra, it just makes you super happy. So Nicole has sent through a comment. Nicole says, live at the waterhole, Kerry, these zebra are spectacular, and you're enjoying listening to the live at the waterhole today. Thank you, Nicole. Really enjoying being here, being back on live at the waterhole, catching up on what's happening on our locations and with Africam, and just getting a little bit of nature in our day. So I have a few friends at the moment that have just gone through operations or surgeries or possibly housebound, and I think the only thing keeping them sane at the moment is live at the waterhole. At least get some sense of wildlife or some bushy activity in your day, some awesome wildlife sightings. These zebra are very curious. Look at those ears. The zebra on the right looks like he's got extra long ears. I think it might just be me, I'm not too sure, but look at these zebra. They are really something must be around this waterhole today, or maybe there were lions around, because even the giraffe were very alert, very cautious. Something's not making me zebra very happy. So another question from Ollie Verge says, it's been a fantastic show so far. And Ollie, I guess you're also in Johannesburg. So I'm also currently in Johannesburg, and yeah, it's I don't know, the weather's strange. It's been overcast today, and then the sun looked like it wanted to come out. Now it's overcast again, but I wouldn't be surprised if some storms built up and rained. I'm happy to have the rain. It's always a nice, refreshing feeling. I haven't had my first rains here in Johannesburg yet, so I'm looking forward to the first big storm. Would be great. I know you've already experienced some rains over the last 2 weeks in Johannesburg, a little bit of rain here and there, but it'll be great. The zebra have disappeared. I think there might be a predator present at this waterhole somewhere, because the animals are very much on edge. So it is kind of the disadvantage to not having elephants around, as if when antelope do come down to the waterhole, they might be a little bit more nervous because there's no elephants. If there's elephants there, then they might be a little bit more confident, whereas if there are not big mammals around, then you see the rest of the smaller mammals start getting a little bit nervous. What are you guys looking at, hey? Is there a lion close by? See the stallion, very impressive specimen. Look at those stripes, such intricate and unique stripes to every individual. He's got some strange stripes on his face here. I don't know what happened with the stripes on his face here. Oh, is it a mare? Look like a stallion. So generally stallions have much thicker necks, very thick bold necks and shoulders, and these little juvenile zebra, or the little foals, he looks like he's got his baby fluff that he still needs to shed. Okay, well I guess this is a mare then. This little one is suckling. So quite a few interesting zebra in the Mara with unusual patterns and stripes. So this can be a genetic deformity, a recessive gene that's maybe passed down from one generation to the next. But yeah, this does seem to be very common, but I guess we do come across a lot of zebra within that area. All those zebra that are migrating through to the Serengeti. It's amazing to see those herds of thousands of wildebeest and zebra, and never seen such large buffalo herds before as well. So wildlife lady, yes, the water level is quite low here at Old Donyo. I've obviously had lots of very thirsty zebra, but I don't find this pan gets too full at Old Donyo. I think the animals drink up the water quicker than what the water can pump into the pan, so that could be why the pan looks very shallow or very low at the moment. There's just too many animals out there. And it's a very popular little hidden spot. Maybe because there's no elephants, we'll get some other birds of prey coming down to this waterhole as well. Maybe our secretary birds, and it is a pair of secretary birds, sometimes we see them. So Lily Pan has sent through a question. Lily Pan is asking, are zebra born brown and then get darker stripes? So yes, Lily Pan, often small zebra are born, I find it's mostly, if you have a look on this individual, mostly on the neck, shoulders and back. They do have a bit of a baby fluff, lighter brown color to them, and of course as they start shedding off that brown baby coat, the hair dies, but it's still quite long, so that's what also gives them a very brown appearance. But once they've shed off their baby fluff, then generally, yes, their stripes are a lot darker in color. The gestation period for a female zebra is about 360 to 365 days, so very similar to that of horses. And yeah, the female zebras needs to be quite protective over her little one. So when new males are trying to take over the herds, these females will defend their young very viciously. Alright, cool folks, let's head across to one of our other locations, see what else is happening out there today. This is another new location for me. We're here at Roy's Dam in the Sabi Sands with some more elephants at a very little busy spot. So not only is this a watering spot, but this also looks like a Sodak area. So on the right hand side of these two elephants, you can see this is an area that has been worked, or lots of elephants have spent time feeding in this area. So it's probably an area with lots of salts and minerals that these elephants are looking for. Oh, a youngster on the right fighting with another bull somewhere close by. So Darkman Lover, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. It is good to hear that you are back with us, so thank you for sending through those questions and comments, and it is a pleasure to be a host on Live at the Waterhole and join you while we watch these incredible waterholes and what happens out in the African bush. So Marina Midrand says, Kerry, I'm impressed at the waterhole. Love it. Yes, there's always something happening out there. And even when it's quiet and some waterholes have no mammal movement, there's always birds. There's always something to photograph, always something moving around. It's a shame this looks like a young elephant bull just chased this cow and her little one away from the waterhole. It's also looking, it looks nice and wet. I think this is a drainage line, so it's looking nice and green, because have a look on the other side of the road, it does look quite dry and the Sabi Sands still, but I know they've had some rain recently, so I'm sure within the next few weeks some of these locations will be completely unrecognizable. So I like this time of the year when the rains just start, as the grass starts getting green, but you've still got the sand, the soil exposed. You can still see a bit of the bush, because the minute the grass starts coming in, it is so thick that you cannot see anything out there. So it becomes a little bit difficult to go game viewing, go on safari. What is this elephant bull up to? Oh, he's scratching himself. He's got an itchy shoulder. Looks like a nice little stream with a series of little puddles and pools. Perfect place to do some frogging. Right, folks, well, I think there's some activity with some elephants over at Toldonyo. So let's head across to Toldonyo and see what's happening over in Kenya. Ooh, have a look here. Look at these two tuskers. My goodness. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. So moments ago, the zebra had just disappeared, and he seemed to be a little bit uneasy for some reason. Now we've got two giant elephant tuskers. These elephant bulls don't really look familiar to me, but if anyone does know if these elephants have names, you're welcome to send them through. Wow, check at these big boys. Such good genes and genetics left in this area for these massive elephant tuskers. Very handsome looking boys. Darkmane lover, you are most welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's always great to have these questions coming through and have you all at home joining us here live at the waterhole. Keeps me entertained, keeps my brain busy with all your questions and comments. So I do love doing live at the waterhole when I'm not out and about on safari. It does help to keep you fresh, keep your mind busy. Some of the questions we get are not always the easiest questions, but yeah, always learning every day. Oh, this elephant's got an itchy leg. Look at those tusks. Aren't they impressive? My goodness. So have a look at these elephant bulls. Not only do they have such incredibly long tusks, but their bodies, they have huge bodies. Whereas I feel like the elephants at Tembe Elephant Park, for example, it's a very interesting special gene of elephants that are left in Tembe Elephant Park. So yes, they do have, I find their tusks are very long, yes, very long and narrow, but their bodies are normally, they're quite tall. They're not big elephants. They're tall elephants with quite long tusks. And then here in Toldonyo, we have big-bodied elephants with quite broad, wide tusks. In Namibia, our elephants are kind of stubby little bodies, almost like the elephants at Mabula, with very short, stumpy tusks. So it's amazing how the different environments, different genes, and different climates do affect the body size and the shapes and formation of the tusks of these elephants. Darkmane lover, yes, these are very handsome elephant bulls. Oop, I think there's another elephant bull maybe coming to join at the waterhole. Have a look, the body language of this one elephant has changed completely. He lifted his head up and turned around as if to welcome or ward off another elephant bull that might be coming. I wonder if they're going to have some rain at Toldonyo as well. Looks like there could be some rain brewing. Melanistic marble, yes, these two are rather fantastic specimens. Look at those tusks. You wouldn't want to get into a fight with these elephant bulls. Rather formidable, dangerous looking tusks. So we've got a question from Honey Badger. Honey Badger is asking if we still have our cameras to see the flamingos and the Olifants River. So yes, we still have our camera at the Olifants River. I don't think there's too much happening there at the moment. And we do also have the Camphus Dam camera, which is near Kimberley, which normally has flamingos, but I believe it's a very, very windy day there at the moment. So as soon as the wind settles down, we'll head over there hopefully and see if there are any flamingos around. But yeah, there's not always flamingos at that location. I know it is a great location for water birds. My goodness, I think if I had to pick one of the water holes that I've seen the most water birds, it would probably definitely have to be at Camphus Dam. I mean, you get everything there. You get your plovers, you get your sandpipers, you get storks, you get herons, you get, my goodness, so many different birds. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Hopefully the wind dies down a bit. I know some parts of South Africa look like they're going to be experiencing a bit of rainfall coming for this weekend, so it could be the building up of the rain that's making it very windy in that area. Big boy does look like he's already had a bit of a mud bath somewhere. He looks slightly wet on his side. Look how massive these boys are. I think the water, the outlet might also not be flowing at the moment. That's what this elephant is looking for. You can see he's sniffing. He's using his trunk to sniff and smell to see where the water is. So maybe at the moment with the cloud cover, a lot of these pumps and water holes are pumped by a solar system, and when it is a cloudy day, sometimes the water it's difficult for the water to pump. The solar can't charge up the batteries, so either the water's super slow in coming out, or on some cloudy days it doesn't pump at all. But there's still some water there. Hey, big boys. It's so special being in the presence of these giants that roam the African bush. Always think, imagine you could plug in a memory card and see what this elephant has seen. Right, folks, let's go check out what's happening at one of our other locations in South Africa. Let's see what's happening at... Oh. So we were going to go across to Rosie's pan. We had some warthogs, but they decided to move off, which is a common occurrence. And this is the reason why I always have emergency props with me on the vehicle. I did a video recently about some of the interesting emergency props I had with me while in the Masai Mara. At some stage I had a hippo tusk or hippo tooth, I had a zebra skull, and I also had a giant land snail shell, a thistle bush, and another, I think it was like a gardenia flower that I'd picked up that fell off. So yeah, you always have to have these emergency props whenever I am on locations, for those moments when you're about to go live, you hear that live, and I'm pretty sure the animals and the birds, they can hear it. They know that exact moment, because then they take off, and then you're just looking at an empty branch with nothing and wondering, oh dear. Like the other day we had a baboon. There was an olive baboon sitting right on the side of the road. He was sitting so nicely for us, and as soon as we went live, he got up and moved across, and we could not see him. So luckily I had an ostrich feather that day. Come on, big boys. I feel like I might recognize these elephants. Let me have a look and see if I've got them somewhere that I've recorded them, because they look rather familiar. Let's have a look. No. Okay, the ones I'm thinking of, they're not. I've not seen these two together, but they do look familiar, these elephants. If any of our viewers do know who these elephants could be, please feel free to let me know. The ones I'm thinking of, they normally have, the one male has very long, almost like forklift tusks. So Sandra K is asking, how can you judge the age of an elephant? So Sandra, very good question. So these big elephant boys, elephants, some record ages of elephants, they can live up to 60 years of age. You can tell the age by obviously the length of the tusks, the size of the body, and also any prominent features on their heads, how tall they are as well, can also determine their age. I'd say these boys are fully grown elephant bulls. They've got very big heads, they've grown into themselves. I would say they're easily probably over 50 years of age. So it's quite difficult to age elephants once they are sub-adults, between the ages of, I'd say, 20 to 30. I think that's a very difficult age to age. You just kind of have a bit of a guess. But once they are fully matured elephant bulls, at the age of between 40 to 55 years, and you kind of get a bit of an idea. They don't look like they are old and struggling and thin. They still look like they are mature, in their prime, and thriving. So I would easily say between 45 to 50 years of age, these boys. Once they start getting close to 60, then you start seeing their age showing. You see they'll start getting a bit thinner, they lose a lot of weight, especially in their faces and their heads. You can really see it. So David Bilston from the UK sent through a comment, a fun fact that I did not know. So David said, did you know, Kerry, that Sandringham in South Africa is named after Sandringham House in England? Really interesting. Thank you for that, David. I had no idea, but it's not surprising to me. There's a lot of, I find street names. I think we've got a lot of street names in South Africa that are also named after. I think we've got Queen Elizabeth Street. We've got a lot of, just British named streets and locations also here in South Africa that I noticed are quite prominent areas. So thank you for that info. Jean has sent through a comment from the UK saying your favorite birds are waders and water birds. Hyena is your favorite mammal and crocodile is your favorite reptile. Thank you, Jean from the UK, for your list there. Marion Midrand has sent through her favorite creatures. Favorite mammal is obviously elephants, and you love dung beetles. Yes, dung beetles. So important for the ecosystem. Little creeping, crawling critters also have their space in the chain, in the bush, in the wild, processing all this elephant dung. It's not an easy job. That is a big job for such tiny little beetles, but they do it happily and without any complaints. So Macbeth has sent through a comment. Macbeth Lady, Elephant Voices, has a guide to age elephants. So yes, I think Elephant Voices is a book, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a book on how to age elephants. Their teeth also is a very good way of aging elephants, but it's very, unless you have a domestic elephant that you can get them to lift up their trunk, I find it is quite hard. You don't often actually see elephants' teeth unless they're lifting their trunks up. But their tusks can be a very good way of aging them. Tusks are just modified teeth. I had the same question the other day about my hippo tusks. It feels weird saying hippo tusks because yes, they are modified teeth, but I feel like when they get to a certain length, especially if they're an extended part of the jaw and they go really far out, then it feels like they're more tusks or teeth. But I'd love to hear from our viewers. What do you think is the right terminology? I did Google it, and both terms are correct. The hippo tusks are just modified teeth. But I'd love to hear from our viewers. What do you think is the correct term? Hippo tusk or hippo teeth? Those large, massive enlarged canines of theirs that they use for fighting. Righty folks, well, let's head back across to the hide in Zimbabwe, see what's happening at our waterhole there. Oh, hello. Got a hippo here. Big hippo male. Could be a hippo bull by himself. It could be a female actually though. It doesn't look like its head is that big. So male hippos have much bigger heads than females. We were just talking about hippo tusks and teeth. I wonder if this one will give us a yawn. Show us his mouth. There's a rather aggressive hippo here at the hide that likes to chase animals away from the waterhole. I've never heard of it before, but this hippo actually killed a buffalo one day. Crazy. So there was a buffalo herd that came in to have a drink at the waterhole, and obviously when they left the waterhole there was the old stragglers at the back of the herd, and this hippo came out of the water and just started biting the back of this poor buffalo. With those hippo teeth, large tusks, those large incisors, obviously punctured the stomach of this poor buffalo, and the buffalo did then further move off. The buffalo didn't even run away. It was so old, shame. And it did go and die in a bush a few hours later. But hippos, not a creature to be messed with. So we've got a question from Sanjay Roy. Says, on live safari we hardly see elephants who are struggling to keep pace with the herd. Some I'm a bit confused with this question about these elephants. So Sanjay Roy, unfortunately, in places like Wangi National Park, where we're currently broadcasting from right now, during the dry season, close to when the rains arrive, you do see a lot of old females, old cows, lagging at the back with their little ones. Unfortunately, a lot of dead elephants at that time of year as well. So that's when you have a bit of a natural selection of the old and the young and the weak kind of get taken out. So it does happen, and it is all part of nature, and there are way too many elephants in this park as well, and they just struggle to keep up. And same as the buffalo, as we spoke about, the buffalo that got killed by the hippo. Once they cannot keep up with the herd, they become very vulnerable, and then predators might take them out as well. So Mr. Elemental commented hippo teeth. It's because you can't necessarily see them when their mouths are closed. Yeah, could be hippo teeth, Mr. Elemental. I know some big hippo bulls that I have seen that their teeth, they're kind of exposed. You can see them even with their mouths open. But I think this hippo might have been in a big fight because its tusks or teeth were very, very long and very unusually had a weird angle. So very, very strange. So Mr. Howe has commented that this hippo's name is Moto Moto. I was going to say Moja Moja, but that's I'm watching live at the live safaris too much, because I think Moja Moja is one of the Topi boys with David. Been watching David too much, listening to him with Moja Moja. So yeah, Moto Moto could be this hippo, the male that I'm talking about, the very aggressive hippo. He even chases poor kudu and impala away when they come down to drink. Have to be very careful at this waterhole.
Every week, the wilderness delivers.
And that's why we're here.
Drama, chaos, crimes, humour. All moments you'll never forget. We've counted them down, argued about them, and finally picked the very best. From rare sightings to classic bush showdowns, this is nature's weekly highlight reel. Sharp facts, bad jokes, and the wildest top 5 you'll see this side of the savannah. It's not just a show, it's a wild bush week.
Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
And Wangi National Park. So Wangi National Park is only 350 plus kilometers from Victoria Falls, whereas Mana Pools is a little bit more of a journey, and I would 100% recommend flying from Victoria Falls on a private charter flight straight into Mana Pools, because unfortunately our roads in Zimbabwe are not so great. You can probably disappear in some of the potholes in Zimbabwe at the moment. Look at this hippo. Just having the greatest time. You can see tiny little whiskers on the tips of his nose there. These whiskers are little sensory glands, so they're used for picking up and feeling things under the water. Hippos don't have the best eyesight, but with all these little whiskers off the tip of their nose, it does help them to feel and pick up anything that might be close to them under the water. Tiny little Shrek ears, little cones filled with fluff inside to prevent any foreign objects from getting into their ears. They are strange creatures, hippos, aren't they? Rather strange. He's having a great nap. So hippos will only spend a few hours within a 24-hour period actually feeding. And in some parts of Zimbabwe, there's not much food around the waterholes. So some of these hippos do have to move quite long distances to find food. I would say in most waterholes in Wangi National Park at the moment, hippos could move between 15 to 25 kilometers within a night in order to find enough food. Because of course around these busy waterholes, the grass gets flattened, any small trees also get fed on, so you have this effect that around the waterholes you just get less and less vegetation further and further away. Ooh, it looks like we have some masked swallows. Doesn't this hippo make you sleepy? Hippos. The best time of the day to find hippos is early hours of the morning as they're returning to their little waterholes, or late hours of the evening as they are leaving their little water spot. Alrighty folks, our hippo doesn't seem to be doing much. Let's head across to Timber Plains. Oh, look here, we have a crocodile. This Timber Plain seems to be quite a great location, and if I'm not mistaken, have a look at this crocodile's snout. It looks like it could have a bit of a gap there. So often crocodiles, when they're fighting with each other, can lose parts of their snout. I've seen crocodiles with complete missing upper jaws, lower jaws, missing limbs even from fighting with each other. That's strange. Looks like he's having a great time. Nice thick marshy area here. Timber Plains. Lots of nice water birds could occur in this area. It looks like a quiet day. It looks like it could be overcast here at Timber Plains. Maybe some rain is expected. I know the rainy season seems to have come a little bit earlier this year. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Last year it was a terrible thing. We had a lot of early rains and then a long period during the dry season when there was no rains at all. So a little bit of information about this location. Timber Plains, located in Zimbabwe, is located in the Sapi Private Reserve. So it's situated on the east of the very famous Mana Pools National Park and bordering the Zambezi River. So that's obviously why it is such a hotspot area for crocodiles, birds of prey, or water birds especially. Really nice open marshy areas that you get within this region. Located near the banks of the Zambezi River, which is one of the places in Africa that has the highest population of hippopotamuses and crocodiles. Oof, you have to be very, very careful when you go to some of these parts of Zimbabwe with crocodiles. The crocodiles can be a bit of a problem. Just be very respectful. It's their habitat, it's their space, and I would not like to be taken by a crocodile. So lots of famous lodges. Tembo Plains Camp is not too far away from this location. It's a beautiful camp here that you can find near Mana Pools. And Tembo Plains can be translated to elephant plains. Obviously they have a lot of elephants that move around in these regions. Lots of lion activity as well. I'm seeing here lots of lion movement. What a special place. Mana Pools. I wonder if any of our viewers have travelled to Mana Pools. So Darkman Lover, interesting question. Darkman Lover is asking, have you ever seen a pride of lions hunting down a fully grown croc in the bush? So Darkman Lover, no, I have not seen this, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's been caught on one of the Africam cameras. I will go and have a scan through and see if I find anything. But yeah, if crocodiles are out of the water, for example, when their water sources are dried up and they're moving from one location to another, it does make them very vulnerable. And lions, leopards could take out these crocodiles, because if crocodiles are out of the water, they're completely out of their comfort zone, and they're very vulnerable to predators. He seems very relaxed. Alrighty folks, well, our crocodile doesn't seem to be doing much, so let's head across to Lentor, see what else is happening out there today. Check, we've got a lilac-breasted roller. I do love the birding here at Lentor. I've just been chatting about there's incredible birds and bird life here at Lentor. I know the feed is not always stable, so but it's great to see some incredible birds. I believe there's a lilac-breasted roller species in Kenya, so there's another separate subspecies that's slightly different to our lilac-breasted roller. But you could also expect to see in these areas maybe purple rollers. I don't think you'd find racket-tailed rollers here, but purple rollers or broad-billed rollers would be a good roller species to see in this area. I know we get lots of our little wax-bills coming down, or African firefinches. You'll be looking out to see if there's any little insects down by the water. I know they love eating grasshoppers, spiders, scorpions. I think I've seen pictures of people that pictures from safaris where people have taken photos of lilac-breasted rollers munching away on a scorpion. So quite a variety of different little creepy crawly creatures that these lilac-breasted rollers like to feed on. It's one of the most colorful birds in Africa, so they have 7 different colors. So black, white, yellow, purple, lilac, green, brown. Isn't that amazing? You can see his little forked tail there. Do sit up on these little lookout points or branches for hours on end until they finally find a moment where they've located their prey, and then they fly down and land straight on top of their prey, and then off they fly. Perfect little shady acacia tree here, or Vachelia. Won't be seen by his victims. This is also our baboon tree. Our baboons do love to climb this tree. They love to spend time playing on this tree. It's like a little baboon playground. Maybe he'll kill some. Maybe he'll hunt this roller for us. Look at those incredible colors. I love the white on his face. Very vibrant, and even though they're vibrantly colored, these rollers, they don't have the most attractive sounds or calls. Rollers are not known for their beautiful calls, they're known for their beautiful colors. I'll play a call of a lilac-breasted roller for you. There's a call of the lilac-breasted roller that has decided to leave us. Maybe he's found himself a meal. Where did he go to? It's a perfect tree for baboons. What else do we have out there? So we were chatting about our sighting. This is where we had those lions the other day. There's some sub-adult lion cubs that were drinking at this waterhole. It's always lovely to see lions at a camera. Haven't seen lions here live though. Oh, what do we have there? Oh, there's a squirrel. We have one of our tree squirrels coming down for a drink. Makes a really good snack for our medium-sized birds of prey. To be careful that he doesn't get captured and eaten by an eagle of some sort. Is coming down for a drink. So just like how our zebra and our giraffe were very cautious over at Old Donyo to have a drink, same the squirrel will constantly have his eyes peeled, be very nervous while drinking in case there's anything out there that might want to capture him. Isn't he cute? Look at those little, he's got white rings around his eyes, very fluffy tail. Quite hyperactive squirrels. I feel like they're always all over the place, running all around, busy on a mission. They are a type of rodent. Squirrels have long bushy tails, and they'll feed on mostly nuts, seeds, and pods. You can see them gnawing away at little seed pods. Also feed on plants in hard times, but yeah, during the dry season when there's not many plants around, they'll definitely feed on a lot more grass and little shrub vegetation, but mostly they love to feed on nuts and seeds. So Dean, the white rings around the squirrel's eyes could be a way of reflecting the sun out of their faces. So they spend a lot of time foraging on the ground and up in trees. So the white could be a very good way to get rid of that light, reflecting and refracting the light out of their eyes. So Marina Midrand, I'm glad you enjoyed my skull segments. It was always a great time. We were looking for a hyena den that day in an area that was very quiet. There was not a single moving soul. So I had to very quickly find something that we could do a segment with. Hello, little guy. Darkmane lover, the squirrel is very cute. It's lucky he's got some peace and quiet to come down for a drink. Moonlight at Midnight also comments that apparently you've got a squirrel that you watch all the time near a tree that's close to your house, I guess, in the UK, and they make rather funny noises. So yes, the male's very territorial. They make like a rasping, rattling sound. In some cases it almost sounds a bit bird-like, the noises of these squirrels. Oh look, he's found something to eat. What is he eating? Is that a little seed pod of some sort? I do look at him. They grab their food with their front little paws and they munch away. Little scurrying creatures. very big back legs. So yeah, the males are very territorial, and when the rains arrive, when there's all these acacia trees with seed pods, it's like paradise for these little squirrels. So much food, so much out there and available for them. And the males, if there's any other male intruders in their territory, they can be quite vicious and aggressive little creatures. Those teeth of theirs, don't want to be bitten by a squirrel.
This is an unbelievable afternoon.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Would you like to know what an elephant's favorite food is? You could ask me questions like that in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive from the heart of Africa.
The Fortunas over here.
Watch Safari Live and connect with nature.
The bush, full of beauty, wonder, and absolute chaos. And now, all that madness has its own show. It's called a Wild Bush Week. The countdown of the most outrageous, heart-stopping, and sometimes downright ridiculous wildlife moments of the week. Lions throwing their weight around. Hyenas gate-crashing the buffet. Leopards doing, well, leopardy things. Each week, it's a fresh reel of safari gold. A mix of drama,
She's just got to Impala, everybody.
danger, and a healthy dose of laughter. So, if you fancy a highlight show with bite, and I don't mean just the animals, tune in to a Wild Bush Week. You bring the tea, and we'll bring the tusks, tails, and teeth.
I guess it must be quite difficult for our zoomies sometime. I know you get, when there's action, there's lots of action. But I guess at some of our waterholes there can be hours and hours of not seeing too much. I guess you need to have a very good book with you, or your birding books, to refresh your mind. But yeah, we're lucky we can jump and hop and skip between the locations to see what's happening. But at the individual locations, sometimes you need some patience, but I find patience always pays off when you're out in the African bush. You end up getting the best sightings when you've had those quiet days. All of a sudden something appears that you didn't expect. This elephant bull on the left, I think his right tusk must have broken at some stage, because look how much shorter it is compared to the left tusk. Very thirsty, these elephants. Just peacefully watching these bulls. Maybe something will come into screen for our last few minutes, but even if it doesn't, it's just nice being able to watch these two giant elephant tuskers here in El Doño. I'm sure they have many stories that they could tell. I must say, I think when I'm out in the bush, I much prefer encountering these elephant bulls by themselves. Sometimes, I mean, the herd's also lovely, but the cows, you'd never know, they can be a bit unpredictable when they have their little ones. And of course you get the testy sub-adults that are sometimes full of nonsense, which are elephant bulls. Spending an afternoon with a nice, calm, relaxed elephant bull, sometimes just what the soul needs. They are just such peaceful, calm and quiet creatures. I mean, I do feel sorry for elephants. They do go through, I mean, when they're in, especially in must, when these young sub-adult elephants start going into must, there's a lot of hormones, a lot of emotions, a lot going on that they don't understand, and they are just learning how to handle being in must. So when elephant bulls first start going into must, I feel like they are a lot more unpredictable. The older these elephants get, the more they become used to going through these this hormonal change in their body, and they're a lot more calm and relaxed even if they are in must. But yeah, those young bulls that are in must, you must be careful of them because they're quite unpredictable sometimes. So these bulls will sometimes form quite tight bonds amongst bachelor herds. It's very special. They'll stay together for longer periods of time, and that's to protect each other, have more safety in larger numbers. But then they will also go off on their own. So you can often see elephant bulls by themselves or in these little bachelor groups. Sometimes the bachelor groups can be up to 15, 20 individuals, all these bulls together. It's important that the sub-adults, once they've left their herd, they're often more likely to stay in a bachelor group of elephants, whereas the older elephant bulls, sometimes they'll move off by themselves. And it's quite interesting with these older elephants like Tim and all those massive elephant tuskers. They'll sometimes have these younger bulls that will actually protect them and take care of them, which is quite special. Form these tight little family groups. Darkman Lover says, thank you Wild Earth, Kerry and the Zoomies for a fantastic live at the waterhole. Lots of beautiful camera sightings, and we hope you enjoy your day too, Darkman Lover. It's been another great day. No better way than to end with these incredible elephant bulls. They've been really lovely this afternoon. Very peaceful, very quiet. No politics, no nonsense. It would be interesting if some more elephants did come down to the waterhole. You see their behavior would change quite a lot. Might start acting a little bit more aggressive towards other males that come in. So when new males come in, if they find these two big boys, they need to be very submissive towards these big elephant bulls. It's also respect. I think these elephant bulls were here first. They're big bulls, so if younger bulls come in, it's a sign of respect to be submissive to these larger elephant bulls who are also at the waterhole first. Like they're just very slowly and reluctantly drinking this water. Like, could be fresher, it could be cleaner, but we will drink it anyways. I think this male is drinking straight from the outlet. Obviously the sun has started to come out. I think the water started pumping a little bit. So this elephant bull is drinking straight from the outlet there. Oh, looks like we've got some rain that might be falling in just behind these elephants here. Alright, folks, just want to say a big thank you from myself and the rest of the Wild Earth team for joining us today here live at the waterhole. I will join you next week for a few days live at the waterhole, but until then, I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Happy Thirsty Thursday, and don't forget to tune in to our sunset safari that will be coming up next, as well as Mara Live. Have a lovely afternoon, and we'll quietly watch these elephant bulls as we head into our weekend.